Every morning, millions of people around the world wake up to the comforting aroma of freshly brewed coffee. But have you ever wondered about the secret life of that daily cup, the journey it takes from distant farms to your favorite mug, and the invisible forces that shape every sip? Let's dive in, and don't worry, Stickman is here to guide you, armed with nothing but a helpful arrow, a penchant for expressive gestures, and a fondness for all things caffeinated. It all begins far from your kitchen in a lush green landscape on the other side of the globe. Stickman, sporting a wide-brimmed hat and a hopeful grin, stands beside a coffee plant heavy with bright red cherries. These cherries are the fruit of the coffee tree, and inside each one are the precious beans you crave. But before you can enjoy your morning pick-me-up, these beans must navigate a labyrinth of global economics, unpredictable weather, and changing tastes, none of which are as simple as Stickman's cheerful wave. Let's rewind to August 2025. While you were deciding between a latte and a drip brew, something big was brewing in international politics. The United States, seeking to recalibrate trade relationships, slapped a hefty 50% tariff on Brazilian coffee imports. Stickman, holding up a tiny suitcase marked Brazil, looks shocked as a giant 50% sign comes crashing down. Instantly, the cost of importing Brazilian beans skyrocketed, and the ripple effect sent global Arabica coffee prices soaring by over 30%. Stickman scratches his head and points to a line graph that's climbing faster than a squirrel up a tree. That steep line represents the new reality for coffee buyers everywhere. Importers in the US, faced with these tariffs, scrambled to find alternatives. Stickman hops a tiny plane labeled Central America and lands, slightly dizzy, next to coffee bags from Colombia and Honduras. But here's the catch. These regions can't magically produce more coffee overnight, and what's available comes at a premium. So your daily coffee just got a little more expensive thanks to forces entirely outside the cafe down the street. But the drama doesn't end there. Back in Brazil, the world's largest coffee producer, farmers were already grappling with tough odds. Stickman holds an umbrella as black clouds gather overhead. In 2025, Brazil saw a crop that was 10% smaller than expected, thanks to a cocktail of poor weather and damaging frosts. These frosts don't just bite this year's harvest, they threaten the coffee trees themselves, putting future yields at risk. With less Brazilian coffee available and higher prices everywhere else, the global supply chain got a serious jolt. Stickman, surrounded by coffee cups growing price tags, shrugs as he watches the numbers tick upward. Suddenly, a tiny espresso cup is emblazoned with a price that makes even Stickman's jaw drop. As Lavazza, a major coffee brand, recently warned, the price of a simple espresso is testing the patience of even the most devoted coffee drinkers. Could you imagine paying £4 for a single shot? Stickman looks at his empty wallet, sighs, and gestures toward a piggy bank, now labeled Coffee Fund. But as prices climb, so does the determination of coffee lovers everywhere. In April 2024, the National Coffee Association reported that 67% of American adults now drink coffee every day, the highest rate in 2 decades. Stickman, now wearing a barista's apron, whirls around a home coffee station, juggling a French press, a pour-over, and a shiny espresso machine. This isn't just about caffeine, it's about ritual, comfort, and creativity. And speaking of creativity, the way people drink their coffee is changing fast. In recent years, specialty coffee has taken center stage. 45% of daily coffee drinkers now opt for specialty varieties, up a staggering 80% since 2011. Stickman, donning a beret and swirling a tiny cup, samples espressos, lattes, and cappuccinos. He even tries his hand at latte art hut, though his heart looks suspiciously like a stick figure. Espresso-based drinks are having a moment, with their popularity growing 10% year over year. Stickman, now wielding a tiny steam wand, crafts a cappuccino with a flourish, then spins to point at a chart showing a mountain of rising mugs. This surge reflects not just evolving tastes, but the influence of coffee culture, from trendy cafes to TikTok tutorials. Now, more people are becoming their own baristas, transforming kitchens into mini coffee shops with the help of ever-improving gadgets. But there's another twist in the story: health. For years, coffee's place in a healthy diet was hotly debated, but in December 2020, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration made it official. Coffee is now considered healthy, in line with the dietary guidelines for Americans. Stickman, flexing imaginary muscles and sipping a cup, grins with approval. This endorsement has given coffee's reputation a boost, reassuring jittery drinkers everywhere that their daily habit comes with benefits, not just a caffeine kick. The health-conscious trend goes even further. Enter functional coffees, beans and blends infused with vitamins, superfoods, or adaptogens. Stickman, now sporting a superhero cape, lifts a mug labeled Turbo Brew. These new blends promise not just energy, but extra perks like enhanced focus or immune support, appealing to those who want their coffee to do more than just wake them up. Meanwhile, the scene in cafes and kitchens keeps evolving. More people are building at-home coffee stations, equipped with everything from grinders to milk frothers. Stickman, now surrounded by shelves of mugs and jars, gestures with pride at his minimalist setup. The lines between coffee shop and living room have blurred as the consumers crave both convenience and the joy of crafting the perfect cup. Yet the secret life of your daily coffee is never just about beans and brews. Behind every sip lies a network of farmers, traders, shippers, baristas, and inventors, all working under the shadow of shifting policies, changing climates, and ever-rising expectations. Stickman, juggling a globe, a coffee cup, and a weather vane, reminds us that even something as simple as your morning ritual is shaped by forces far beyond your kitchen. So tomorrow morning, when you cradle that steaming mug, take a moment to appreciate the journey it's taken, the storms weathered, the tariffs dodged, the innovations brewed. And if your espresso seems a little pricier or your favorite beans are harder to find, remember that you're part of a global story, one that spans continents, cultures, and countless cups. Stickman raises his mug in salute. Here's to the secret life of your daily coffee and to all the stick figures who make it possible.